How's the chaps, and welcome back to the Burton Builds garage. In today's episode, we are going to be building a retracting and extending caster wheel mechanism for this workbench. So let's get started. So the problem that I've been experiencing lately, as I'm sure many of you guys can relate to, well, at least those of you who are working out of single garages, is the lack of space. So every time that I want to work in my garage on a big project, for that matter, I've got to remove the car, or take the car out of the garage, and then move myself or create a little bit of a workspace, and preferably a workbench, so that I don't have to work on the floor. Now, I do have this area in the back. There's a small workbench there, a drill press with a bit of a low workbench, but it's really small, and as you guys know, it's quite painful trying to work on something large in a corner, hence the need for a table that can move around. So of course, before we get to how we're going to move this around, you need to keep in mind also that generally a sturdy worktop or workbench has got to be heavy. So when you're working on it, when you put something in a vise, that it doesn't just bounce around as you are trying to do whatever you're trying to do. So my one specifically, I want to make it about 100 kilograms so that when it is down on the ground, it is not going anywhere. Which is not that convenient to carry. I mean, I know I'm quite strong. Not really, but it's quite inconvenient to try and have to move that big work table out into the open. So next best thing was to put the entire workbench on castering wheels. But now, that also introduces the problem of, well, once it's out of here, then, it's on wheels, it moves around, it's not very stable at all. So we need to come up with a retracting mechanism. Now, I did a bit of searching, got quite lost on the spider web of things, and there generally is the thought process, or the principle of having 4 of these wheels on, each corner of your workbench, and they are on like a tilting mechanism. To me, that just wasn't really going to be good enough. Of course, I always like over-engineering things, and specifically because this table is going to be at least 100 kilograms. So I wanted a base that lowers and raises the table parallel to the ground, and then once it's up, then I can push it wherever I want to go, and then just lower it again. So we're gonna build that, and luckily I was actually going to build myself a table, but lucky for me, our landlord Gareth, thanks very much, dude. He came to the rescue just in time, and he gave me this little workbench, which is actually suiting me perfectly. So I hope you enjoy the video, and we'll chat to you at the end. So chaps, that's it. The build is now complete. It took a little bit longer than what I thought, but you know, that's generally how things tend to happen. It's still going to be painted, of course, but mechanically it is now complete. So before we actually get to the mechanics of it, what I ended up doing is I ended up putting a piece of 19mm plywood on the top of the frame. Now, I wanted a nice solid base, so, or not base, but a tabletop. So I put in, like I say, a 19mm plywood on there. What I think I am going to do though is I'm definitely going to put another layer on. So we'll have a 38mm worktop, maybe even a third layer to bring it up to a 57mm worktop. The thickness is not so much the thing, it's just to get it really nice and solid. I'll of course glue and screw all of the layers. So let me know in the comments what you think about making such a thick and sturdy worktop. And on top of that, then we'll put the steel tabletop. Now this steel tabletop, I'm probably not going to fasten completely. You know, when I need to use it, then I'll put it onto the table, weld, do whatever I need to do. But then when I do need a softer worktop, I'll just remove the steel and then we can work on the wood. And I suppose we could almost make the top layer of wood a sacrificial layer. So, you know, every couple of months when it gets really beat up, then we'll unscrew it, take it off, and you know, put a new one back on. Anyway, it was about raising and lowering the table, and yeah, it came out quite well. It's pretty simple to actually operate. It's operated by this little thing over here. So to raise and lower the table is actually pretty simple. It's got this turny bit over here. It's also got one on the other side, and I did that for convenience. So whatever side of the table that you're on, you can easily rotate, or well, just rotate that and then raise and lower the table. But yeah, as I said, we just rotate this bit and then the table rises or lowers. And I haven't made a hand crank for this yet. I'm just basically running out of time, and I thought the video was getting a little bit long. But for now, we're just going to use a speed wrench. And have a look here. The table is like fast on the ground. It's not going anywhere. And I've got this this plate on here. We ended up putting a piece of 19mm wood on the top, so that's also weighing down on the table. The table is probably about 15 kilograms. I'm about 70 kilograms, so we're looking at 85 kilograms already. And it is really simple to raise. We just rotate, you know, as I said, that turny bit there, and it takes no force at all. I mean, this is really nothing. And there we go. We can see the table is actually starting to rise up, and it's already up. But we can go a little bit higher if we want to. It actually raises about 40mm off the ground, so that's more than, you know, what I actually required. But sometimes there's a little bit of a step that I've got to push the table up, so I needed it to clear that. But yeah, we can see. I mean, there's our speed wrench. It's off, and whoa, geez, the table is completely free. To lower it again, we can, you know, just turn the speed wrench now. You could also use a drill if you wanted to. And which way is this going to go? So there we go. Table is back on the ground. Yeah, definitely on the ground. And then there we go. And it is rocking and rolling. So there we have it, chaps. It was a lot more fun than what I thought it was going to be, and also it was a little bit more trial and error compared to what I originally anticipated. But nevertheless, we've got a working mechanism, and the table does raise and lower, and that was the whole objective of the video. If you haven't quite worked it out yet, how this thing works and how all the mechanics work, join me in the next video where we'll take a closer look at exactly what is turning and what is happening when we turn this turny bit over here. I reckon maybe what we'll also do is put the table through its paces. So we only loaded about 90 kilograms on it now. Maybe we'll do 150, 200, I don't know, who knows. Join us in the next video for that. And I reckon by that time, hopefully, we've got a lick of paint on it. Now, you know, I know this is a garage and some of us enjoy that industrial look. Now, this industrial look is not really working for me, mainly because it's probably going to rust. So definitely want to get some paint on it. Please leave me some comments in the comments section, wherever it is, and let me know what you think about what has happened so far. If you like the video, give give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, well, I suppose give it a thumbs down then. And, thank you very much for watching and joining me. To my subscribers that always watch all my videos, man, thank you very much for all the support. It really does help me out. And, for those of you who haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It will really help me out with the channel. Yeah, chaps, I guess we'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and keep well. Cheers.